Good afternoon, guys. So this session is going to be about written ability test. 6 years, 7 years ago, there was no written ability test, and then suddenly it started up. And I am started taking out group discussion and replacing that with written ability test. It tests you only in terms of how clearly you can communicate your thoughts. One part is that. The other part is how clearly you can think. The previous part is how clearly can you think. The next part is how can you put that into writing. These are the two things that are going to be tested. Right? Usually WAT does not have much of abstract topics. Usually it is relevant topics. Whatever topic you can pick and then say have a GD. Let's say Article 370 in Kashmir, or CAA, CAB, NRC, or World War III. Any topic you can pick, demonetization, GST, any topic you can pick and have a think that you might conduct a GD on can be as a part of your written ability test as well. One great thing about this is you have the freedom to express whatever you want to during that time. Another brilliant thing here is you don't have to take a side. In a GD, most likely, even though if you are not in one extreme or the other extreme, you might have to take mildly have a okay, this is what I'm standing for, because you'll be speaking against others. So that is a clear difference. That is something that you had to do in a GD. Most likely you had to take a side. Here you don't really have to take a side. You don't be cat on the wall, but you don't have to essentially take a side. You can think, jot down the pros, cons, and then give your decision or give your thoughts on whatever it is. Right? So you are supposed to write how many words? 200, 250, 300. Practice with different sets of numbers. At least write 3-4 essays in each of these numbers so that I'll tell you what the problem might happen. You will be good at structuring your thoughts. You will be good at putting your thoughts down. But when they ask you to write a 300-word essay, you should not be writing a 500-word essay. Or you see that you overshoot, already you're at 350, and then you write conclusion for the heck of it before even having space to communicate all the thoughts that you have. Right? So remember, practice different variants so that you know if the WAT asks you to do a 400-word thing, you have a 400-word thing. You should be able to write a 400-word without having to spend a lot of time on counting and all of that. Right? Also, if you are another shortcut kind of thing that you have is, let's say if you are looking at IIM Rohtak interview February 18, for example. Right? There will be people who have attended the same in 16 and 17 and all of that. Pagal Guy or Facebook will have the exact questions that were posted. You don't have to really worry about the question, but you should worry about how many words were there. That is one additional piece of information that if you know prior, that can make a big difference in your essay that you write. So if you can get that information ahead of time, maybe get it. It is available out there if you want to. Maybe look for it, you'll get that information. So that is important. If you can find that information before you go into that specific college thing. So if there is a CAP interview and it has been conducted across different cities and yours is the third city, by the time they come to the third city, they have everything fixed. They know this number of words, all of that is fixed. So it won't change in your case. So you can go in very confidently saying this is most likely going to be a 300-word thing. I have practiced enough for 300-word thing. Okay, maybe let me try 200-300-word essays before I go into the interview. Right? You should have some sense of how many words do you write based on. You will get that sense after your 5th or 7th essay. Remember that. So you got to write a lot of essays. That matters. How you think in your head versus how it comes down in pen and paper are completely different. I can guarantee you that. I've been in your place. I've written a lot of essays. I can tell you that much. It is going to be completely different in terms of how you structure your thoughts. There is no backspace in pen and paper. Also, when you are practicing, don't type, write. Only then you will know in your actual WAT, you will strike. You will have to strike. You cannot not strike. If something you write and then you feel either the grammar is wrong or you feel the fact is wrong, you'll have to strike and then write. You cannot be super shabby at that point of time. So you'll have to be prepared for that. Which means only when you try it out multiple times now, you will realize, okay, I should be even more careful in terms of how I put down my thoughts. That is important. So what are the things need to practice? Uh, GD topics is very similar to this. So for list of topics also inside your online course you have a PDF that gives you a list of topics. Again, most likely topics will be current affairs. Very likely it will be abstract. Very, as in not very likely, very less chances of it being abstract. Right? We will try to write maybe one abstract and then one current affairs when we do it. Right? Okay. What are important things that you should remember is that how you structure your thoughts needs to have some flow. You start with an idea by introducing an idea. And then is your body, and then you have your conclusion. Introduction is before your meat of the content. Conclusion is post. What are your wrapping up thoughts on whatever you have written down? Right? The body can have one or two paragraphs. Always think about, don't have 2-line paragraphs throughout. Don't have one big paragraph throughout. This extreme is also wrong, that extreme is also wrong. What I mean by that, there needs to be some amount of, there is some flow. I read this and then, okay, I finished one idea in 4-5 lines and the next idea I write a separate paragraph. It looks neat, it is presentable, it also shows that, see, we all take it for granted how to write an article. Maybe because we all have to read a lot of things in our life. But structuring your thoughts with paragraphs and proper grammar and proper English with the time limit clock running over your head is actually tough. Right? So practice a lot. Know that creating paragraphs is not as easy as it feels like. Write down, only then you'll realize that. Right? So start, body, and then conclusion. This is overall structure of how it can be. This body thing could be in multiple ways. One, it could be where you have pros and then cons and then some consequences or results possible, and then you have your conclusion. This is one way of thinking about it. There is another way where you list down firstly, secondly, and then on the other hand. You get what I'm trying to convey? So either you structure just by saying start, body will have 2 paragraphs and then I'll have my conclusion, or you are saying I know my introduction and then I'll talk for the topic in 2 sentences. Firstly, this is the most important factor that I want to cover. This is the second important factor that I want to cover. But I also have a con that I really want to mention. So you say on the other hand, the opposing view of this is this, and then you conclude by taking a decision, taking a stance, or giving them a suggestion. It could be a suggestive piece. You don't really have to have an opinion all the way unless the question warrants you. Sometimes the question will be, I got one bad because I'll try to recollect it. It's a big passage. So it said, you are the district collector or some high position in a tourist city like Kanyakumari, Rameswaram. Some city name was there, right? It is not really tourist friendly for people who are who don't have much money. What will you do as a district collector / whatever that position was to improve that? This was a question that I got in WAT for CAP interviews. So at that point of time, there were 6 colleges in CAP. Ranchi, Raipur, Trichy, the new IMs were there. So this was the question that I got in my written ability test. So I had to think in terms of put myself in some bureaucrat shoes and then say, hey, what are all the different things that could have led to this issue, and then followed by what are all the solutions that I can think of so that I can make maybe not so rich people who come as a pilgrimage or as a tourist to this place, how do I make their life simpler, their life easier? What does government do? As in terms of, do government supply boarding spaces for poor people at less price, or does government improve the overall facility of the place so that a lot of people want to invest there and then they want to build hotels and the prices come down? So you had to think on multiple fronts to tackle one issue. But this is one issue. So they can ask you for an issue and ask your opinion or a suggestion, which means you have no other goal. You have to give them a suggestion. Sometimes they don't really ask you that. They'll give you a statement. You have to write. You can take for against stance, or you can just state the facts and then finish it up. Both is fine. If the question warrants a stand, then you should take it. Use connecting words. Some name for it. You check out the YouTube video present in the online course. It's given there. So use words that can help you transition words. Correct? Words that can help you transition from one idea to another. It should not feel like, okay, you found out 4 ideas and then you started writing paragraph 1 on idea 1, paragraph 2 on idea 2, but they're all 4 different islands. It should not be that. There should be some flow in terms of how you read an article, right? So that is how you are supposed to communicate. That is one thing. Don't use flowery words. You don't have to really show your strength in your vocab in that essay. Keep it as simple as possible. Make use of transition words, at least to start with. With time, maybe you'll get better in terms of you not having to use transition words, but naturally your article progresses from one place to another. Right? You will get there with time. But underlying all of this is practice. The more you practice, better you can get. I can tell you, you might think like, okay, I need to practice. Okay, I do one essay. Who is going to correct that essay for me? How do I improve and all of that? You don't need anybody else to look and correct it for you. I've done this exercise myself. The first essay I wrote versus the 6th essay I wrote is going to be miles apart, because you are the best critic that you have. You read your essay, you know, it was stupid of me to write this thing. It was stupid of me to phrase it in this way. So next time when I'm thinking about phrasing it this way, I'm going to make sure I'm going to do something else. It is like winning an argument inside your head. Post clarity you get, so you have this, after I've written down, after I read this, I know, okay, this is something that I should have done it in some other way. So you get there, right? The more articles you write, better it is for you. So remember about flow. The article should flow. They are not going to test you on how great a writer you are. It does not matter. They want you to be able to think coherently and connect your ideas. So it cannot be island. It cannot be 4 different ideas not connected at all. It should have that flow. Right? I guess pretty much I've talked for 15 minutes about 2-3 different things. Nothing more than that. But why I keep reiterating ideas is because that is really very vital for you to get your points there. Some colleges have a lot of weightage for your WAT and PA put together. So it forms a very crucial part of your 10th, 12th, whatever Purana Pap you have, all of that can be written off if this score goes high. So make sure you don't miss out on this.